Well, first of all, before going into this video, I would just like to uh, leave it very clear my opinion on this guy right here behind Burzum. The man called Varg, I do not support him in any way, alright? I think as a person, he completely suck. Like, he's completely garbage of a person, but as a musician, he just released amazing work. So I'm gonna be focusing on his work, the albums he released, and I'll try to talk as little as possible from him the person, from he the person, from him, well, from him. So just leaving it clear right here that I do not support him. So let's just go into the video. Good morning, good evening, and good night, everyone. Or good afternoon, good evening, whatever, you get what I'm trying to say here. Today I'm gonna rank the entire discography of the, well, sort of band, actually solo project, Burzum. That's right. This amazing mashup of Lord of the Rings, Norse mythology, and fascism. So, oh man, let's rank this entire discography. Let's just get into the one at the bottom, which is, well, unfortunately, at the bottom we have Thulêan Mysteries, the most recent album by Burzum. I'm gonna say this album here, it was a disappointment, but when I first listened to it, the first four times, I actually only listened to the first 4 songs, which are The Sacred Well, The Loss of a Hero, Forebears, and A Thulêan Perspective. And I'm gonna say, those first 4 songs, I love them so much. These first 4 songs I just mentioned, they are all my favorite Burzum songs. But the rest of the album is such a disappointment, you have no idea. Like, we have the password such a... oh, why? 50 minutes? I mean, if it were like 5 minutes long, maybe I would have enjoyed it more, but 50 minutes of that? And then, well, you can't really think of anything else. I believe the song Skin Traveler, it's a different version from a song that appears on the album Det Som Engang Var, which we'll get into. So this album, I first listened to those 4 songs like 3 times. 3 times on, how do you say, on loop, and I loved those first 4 songs, and I thought the entire album would be just like that, very relaxing, soft rock, acoustic parts with, you know, some instrumentation in the background here, there, very ambient, very atmospheric, but it just wasn't that, and I was really disappointed. But still, my favorite Burzum song is Forebears, for sure, number 1, my favorite song from Burzum. And the artwork as well, I really love this artwork. I'll probably be showing it on screen. Amazing artwork. Let's move on to the next album on this list. Next up, we have an album that wasn't a disappointment and was actually a big surprise. I actually enjoyed this album a lot. The Ways of Yore. I'm gonna say this artwork, I really like this artwork. It's, I believe, Odin and a giantess. This image from specific, I believe that it's from that tale where Odin goes into a cave and there's this ugly giantess, and Odin, I believe, heals her because she was under a spell from another giant, and then she becomes beautiful again, and Odin proceeds to get the hydromel. I believe that's the tale being told in this painting. I read a lot about Nordic mythology, so really interesting. And also we can see the border is the funny German symbol from World War II. If you squint your eyes, you can see it very obviously. And well, I'm just gonna take this and just talk about Varg, the person. So we should really split the artist and the art, the music and the musician, because Burzum is one of the best musical projects I ever listened to. Like by far, it's amazing that one guy made all of this, and this is at the very top with my like favorite bands: Opeth, Catatonia, Anathema, Cradle of Filth. I made a video on them, but I haven't released it because they're going to make a new album and they haven't released the new album, so I'm gonna add that to my ranking. So you're gonna see my new video ranking Cradle of Filth's discography once they release their new album. So yeah, let's go back. So Burzum is one of the best musical projects I ever listened to. Highly recommend it. But as I read from a review on the internet, the music is so beautiful, but when you listen to it, you feel guilty by knowing who made the music. So that's a great way to describe how we all should feel about Burzum. So let's talk about the songs. The album starts really interesting with God from the Machine, The Portal, Hey Heil Odin. I really like Heil Odin, I'm gonna say. It's very stupid. I saw a lot of people complaining about the song, but I enjoyed it. It's a fun song. Then we have Lady in the Lake, two of my favorite songs actually. Lady in the Lake and The Reckoning of Man. Those two songs are amazing songs. I really love them. So yeah, listen to them. Then, well, there's some other not that interesting songs. I'm gonna say The Coming of Athens, Hail Freya, The Ways of Yore, Ekfall, I Am Falling, Hall of the Fallen, well, Asgard. And the album closes again with songs that I really enjoyed. Adam Leaves, Emptiness, To Hell and Back Again. Those three closing songs, I think they're really good. So overall, this album was actually a surprise because I was expecting this to be absolute garbage, but I enjoyed it a lot. Very fun. I recommend this to you if you're interested in dark ambient music. Let's go on to the next album on the list. Next up, we have the first actual black metal album, Umskiptar, which I believe it translates to changes in English. I'm not sure. Whatever. Let's first talk about the artwork. I really like paintings as covers for heavy metal albums. They always fit perfectly, no matter the genre. My dog, I don't want to play right now. So this album here is the weakest black metal album, I'm gonna say. It's not only a black metal album, but at the same time it has sort of a Viking metal album. Now, I haven't listened to Battery. They're next up on the list. I'm gonna list to like Death, Dark Throne, and then Battery. So when I list Battery, I will have a much better idea of what Viking metal actually is. But I believe this is very close to that. So we start with actually very good songs: Bloodstocken, Joln, Alpha Dance, and Hit Helga 3. So these first four songs really good. Joln and Alpha Dance, maybe my favorite songs from this album. Then we go into our Heider, Valgalder, Galgvdir, Surnen, Guladver, and Nidogar. I'm not Norse, alright? I don't know how to speak Norwegian or Swedish, but I really like how the language sounds. Maybe someday I'm gonna learn how to speak this language, and my dog is not gonna play, goddammit. So I really like this language, very interesting language. Maybe someday I'm gonna learn it. But I think the high point from the album is the very beginning, the first few songs, and then some of the songs in the middle, Heider, Valgauder. Those songs are really good, but overall I just feel this album is not Burzum's best. Let's move on to the next one. Next up we have Belus. I'm just gonna say this artwork isn't my favorite artwork from this band. It might be my favorite artwork from the entire discography. It's just really beautiful. Look at this picture. I love albums that have not only paintings as their cover, look at my dog in the corner, but also albums that have a picture of a forest, beautiful forest, and when you listen to it, it's like something very evil and such. I really like that. So this is the comeback album after, well, the guy spent 16 years in prison. I didn't search if this is a concept album. I believe it is, because it's all about nature and I don't want to play with my dog. So this album here, it starts really powerful with Lukkens Renkespil introduction. Well, it's a song. It's just something very, let's say, ASMR. It's just ASMR with something like, I believe, a stone ball falling on, hitting other stone balls, something like that. That's what I imagine from hearing that. Then we have my favorite song from this album, Belus Daudi. Other really good songs, Glemsellen's Elv, Kai Mataldas, Nedstigning, Sverdens, Kalos Hesten, Morgen Road, Belus, Til Ba Ke Komst. And you can hear my dog. So this album here, really good comeback actually. After spending so many years in prison, I believe he wouldn't be able to play instruments in there, no record albums, although he did record 2 albums in prison. So for him to come back with this after 10 years without releasing anything, amazing album, really good, as every album in this list except for the one at the very bottom. What is my dog doing now? What the hell? So really good album, go ahead, listen to it. Another black metal album. Let's move on to the next one. So next up we have controversial pick, Burzum and Aske, the first EP and the first album. I'm gonna say it's good. It's a really good debut, really good. Well, the EP Aske, I didn't like Aske at all. I think it's not that great actually. And well, the guy burned the church to take the picture for the cover, so also that's something I did not like at all, because they really value history, no matter if it's Christian or pagan history. All history is history, and it's important to know who we are as peoples and nations. So for this guy to just go ahead and burn a bunch of old churches, that's just not nice. Alright, not nice. If it were like a church built like last year, oh, new church, then whatever. But what he did was destroy part of history, part of what his nation was, and I did not like that. So, well, after that rant, let's talk about the album. The Aske cover, I don't like it. The Burzum cover, I really like it. It's like this little, how do you say it, Grim Reaper in the darkness, pointing at like a direction. There's a pond by his side, a bunch of dead trees, a lot of fog. Really like this artwork. And the songs, I'm gonna say the songs on, well, Aske, I did not like that much. I think I will stop saying I think, I will start saying I believe. A Lost Forgotten Sad Spirit is my, well, the song I like the most from Aske. But from Burzum, the album, I really enjoyed, well, all the songs. Feeble Screams from Forest Unknown, really fun. EA, Lords of the Depths, like EA, the game developer, you know, they really are the Lord of the Depths. Spell of Destruction might be my favorite song from this album. Channeling the power of souls into a new god, really fun interlude. Then we have War. War might be my favorite song as well. Then the Crying Arc. Man, I love how it goes from channeling the power, War, to the Crying Arc, and then to My Journey to the Stars, which might actually be my favorite song from this album. So yeah, My Journey to the Stars is my favorite song from this album. But, well, this album is really good, but for me, just Burzum made better albums than this. This is the debut. Really, really good black metal album, atmospheric black metal. If you want to get introduced into the genre, listen to the first 4 albums from Burzum. They're all really good. We're gonna talk about the next ones in a little while. So let's just move on to the next item on this list. Well, next up we have Daudi Baldrs. Let's first of all talk about, well, the context and also the artwork. This is for me the weakest, let's say the worst album cover from Burzum. It's a painting, probably a painting from the Middle Ages, about when the Christians first came to Scandinavia and converted all the Norsemen into Christianity, probably depicting like a king from that era converting, or maybe it was just a really shitty painting in the, well, 90s, whatever. So but actually when you listen to the album you can really start enjoying the artwork. Once you look at it and you think about the music you just listen to, well, that really influences your taste in artworks and such. And you can see the king has the funny German symbol on his cape. Look at that. So Daudi Baldrs, this is the first album he released when he was in prison. So Varg just used a keyboard to play all the instrument, to play all the sounds and such that are featured in this album. This was also the first dark ambient album from Burzum, and from the first two albums that he released in prison, I think this is the weakest one because, well, obviously the next one hasn't appeared in the list, but we're gonna get on that one later. So this album here is a concept album. It's about Ragnarok because, well, it starts with Daudi Baldrs, the death of Baldur. You know, that's son of Odin, who was basically immortal, but only one plant could harm him, and Loki used that one plant to kill him. Really fun story. Then it goes to a bunch of Norse title songs. Hermoder a Helferd, Boffer Baldrs, I Heimr, Heljar, Illatindandi, Moti Ragnarokum. So my favorite songs from this, Moti Ragnarokum and Illa Tidandi. Those two closing songs, I love them so much. There's also I Heimer Heljar. That one song, I really like that. It's really short, just 2 minutes, but I love the percussion sounds that he made for that song, well, using the keyboard. So amazing, atmospheric, dark ambient album, the first one he released, and honestly, Varg did a really good job with this one. So, well, let's go ahead to the next album. The next album is Fallen. So, well, this album is amazing. It was the last black metal album Burzum ever released, and in my honest opinion, it's so good. I really like this album. The artwork, of course, classic painting. I really love, well, this painting, it just looks beautiful. The songs, well, let's talk about the songs, they're what matter. They start really powerful, and they sort of, lose enthusiasm, lose power as the album goes, but it doesn't get bad at any point, it just gets weaker. So it starts with Fraver than Street. Jeg faller and Valen. The number 2 and number 3 songs from this album are my favorite songs from this album. Jeg faller, Valen, I love this too. Then we have Vanvid, Enver til Sitt, Woodsticken, and the closing song, which is more of a funny, not really metal song, Til Hell og Tilbake Igel. I think that's what you say. I don't speak Norse, whatever. I believe what this says is To Hell and Back Again, which is a title of another song from, well, another album. So really fun album. This album here to be the last black metal album. Was this last or was Umskiptar? I don't remember now. Was this or Skiptar? I think it was this one, but I'm not sure. Let me look at Skiptar's release date. No, Skiptar was the last actually. But whatever. This is the best album from the latter black metal albums from Burzum. Really good. Listen to this one. Let's move on to the next album on this list. Well, next up we have, surprisingly, Austan Vestan. yeah, the well, penultimate album from Burzum, I believe, 2013. No, this was released before The Ways of Yore and Thulêan Mysteries, actually. So, yeah, this album here is amazing. When I first listened to it, I wasn't really interested. I listened to some of Solaris, Austan. I thought, well, it is dark ambient, it's good, but, well, it released better. I listened to this a few more times, and I'm more like, this is really good. And today, before just like an hour ago, before making this video, I was listening to this again, and I just really thought to myself, well, this is one of his best albums. This album here is one of his best works. It's really atmospheric, really, let's say, sorrowful, ambient, really dark at times, but it also all the time during all of its let's say time span, its length, there's that flickering light of hope always there, present in the music, and I really love that. So Burzum, Austan, Vestan, I really like the artwork. If I'm not mistaken, that's one of the older gods before Odin. I don't really know. I'm out of Nordic stories to tell, so, well, nice artwork. I really like the style that is featured on these latter albums, Austan and Austan, The Ways of Yore, and Thulêan Mysteries. The artworks are beautiful, so yeah, nice art. I'd say my favorite songs from here are, well, there's 11 songs. I'm not gonna try to pronounce all of them. There's the closing track, Solbjörg. I really like that song. Really amazing closing track. Vestan, also a closing track, really good. The first few songs are also really good. Austan, Runar Munt Buvina, Solaras, Haugal Erdir. I don't really know if I'm pronouncing correctly, but whatever. This album overall, there's no weak song. It has moments, and I can't. When I'm listening to this, I don't really tell one song from the other. I just listen to the whole thing as an experience, as an album, and I really enjoy this whole thing. All the songs are really good. I can't really think of any moment that I'm with myself think that, well, this part here is really bad, I'm gonna skip this song and listen to the next one, or go a few seconds ahead. There's no moment in this album that I think that, and it represents how good this album is. So let's move on to the next one on the list. Well, next up we have Hlidskjalf. I think that's how you pronounce this. Hlidskjalf, or just Hlidskjalf or Hlidskjalf. I think it's Hlidskjalf, which is the throne of Odin, the throne where if you sit, you can see the entirety of Midgard and Jotunheim and Utgard and all of those places. Really nice to know that. First of all, the artwork. I really like this artwork. It's like a birch forest. Yeah, a birch forest. There's a huge stone in the middle, and you can see between the leaves and branches there's some light coming down. Really like that. Beautiful artwork. Let's talk about the songs and, well, the context. This was the second album Burzum released when he was in prison. So this is much shorter. It's like 6 minutes shorter. This is the shortest Burzum album, just 33 minutes, really short. But overall, all the songs are also really good. Twistos hers, der tod votans, and susgar daraivo, der lieb nerpus, frigos en semestrauver, en vollong versmogen, frigos goden tranen, der weinend hadner. That's all the songs, 8 songs. Love all of them. They're very emotive, they're very dark, the sounds are just too beautiful. And I really enjoy this album. Really good album. You have to listen to this one. Amazing album. So we're done with all the dark ambient albums, and there's only 3 albums remaining. You'll know what those albums are. So let's just move on to the next one. Next up, to the disappointment of a lot of people, Filosofem is not number 1. Oh no. So this was actually the first Burzum album I listened to, and it still is a really solid album. 6 songs, really long songs. The shortest one is 7 minutes and 5 seconds. Look at that. 3 of the songs in this album are 7 minutes and 53 seconds. That's amazing. I hadn't noticed that before. So it starts with Dunkelheit, Jesus Tod, Erblick, erblickt die Tochter des Firmaments. It's German, but I'm pronouncing it as if it were French. Weird. Gebrechlichkeit. 1. Rundgang und die transzendentale Zahl der Singularität. And Gebrechlichkeit 2. Well, there are 6 songs. They're all in German, whatever. Really good album. This album here, I do have one complaint. Too much distortion on the guitars. That's something I just don't like that much. This album is sounds very unique and different in comparison to the first 3 albums, Burzum and the other 2 that are coming up. This is very unique because, well, the guitars are very different, and also the vocals were recorded with a really shitty mic. So, black metal, guys. Atmospheric black metal. It starts with Dunkelheit, really good song. Might be my favorite one. Then Jesus Tod. All the songs are really good. Then Erblickt. What else can I say? Let's talk about Rundgang und die transzendentale Zahl der Singularität. So that song is a dark ambient song. 25 minutes it is. That's crazy. There's not much happening in it, but overall, for you to listen like while making homework or walking in a forest, it's perfect. Really good song. Well, you gotta listen to this album. If you wanna get into black metal, this is like the number 1 pick. You should listen. I haven't talked about the artwork as well. The artwork, really beautiful. It represents the music. It represents the music really well. It's really nice for you to listen to the music and look at the artwork, so we have a representation of what's being played, and this artwork represents it really well. So, let's just move on to the next album on this list. Next up, we have Det Som Engang Var. This album, when I first listened to it, it was like, wow. It was the second or third album that I listened from Burzum. I listened to it and I thought to myself, well, this is really dark, this is black metal. But, well, not really my favorite. Then I listened to it a few more times and I thought to myself, wow, actually this is getting better, I'm enjoying this more. And now it just is my number 2, really good. So let's first of all talk about the artwork. I said that Belus was probably my number 1 favorite artwork, but this one gets so close. This one might even surpass Belus' art. Just look at it, it's like a gate. If you compare, this is actually based off an RPG. I believe it's the box or a book, whatever. And there's the artwork from that cover from that RPG, and when you compare it to the artwork of this album, it's the same scene, but this is like drawn by a pencil I believe. It really looks like it was drawn with a pencil. So I really like this artwork, really good. And you can see down there like the little death, the little Grim Reaper, and the tree, like down there, just down there. You can see in the artwork. That's really nice for them to make for he to make this connection between the first and the second album. Really nice. Let's talk about the music. I haven't even talked about the music. I just talking about the artwork. So the songs here are really sorrowful, depressing, Really like all of them. Amazing atmosphere. The atmosphere here is on point, alongside with album number 1. Starts with then on the Kisten, really good introduction song. Then Key to the Gate, En ring til a hersk, is my favorite song from this album. The atmosphere, the emotion present in it, I love it. And towards the end, it gets more and more like sorrowful. There's a part with the guitar where the notes is like do 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 do, whatever. I don't remember the sound anymore, but you can hear the guitars doing like the same part over and over, and then it goes a note lower, so it sounds like more dark, and then it keeps on that for some seconds, and then it goes up a note higher, and it keeps doing that, and I really love it. I'm not a musician specialist, but I believe that's what's happening. Sick, really good song. Then, well, Lost Wisdom, Hamson Heist. That's the song I mentioned. That's being replayed on Thulêan Mysteries. Then we have Nar, Himmelen, Klarner, Snu, Mikrokosmos, Tegen, and the closing song, Svarttroner. This album, as I said, the atmosphere is on point. Perfect dark atmosphere. Loved it. So, well, there's only one album remaining. What's number 1? Let's just go. And of course, number 1 had to be the album with long songs. Hvis, Lyset, or Hvis, Lyset. Not really quite sure how to pronounce it. Let's first of all talk about the artwork. This is the most depressing artwork. I believe the painter, the guy who made this drawing, he has another painting that looks just like this, but instead of a dead body there's a tree on the corner. So from what I read, probably there was some kind of Black Death on Norway or something like that, a big spread of some disease, and well, a lot of people died, and it inspired this guy to draw this artwork. So really dark artwork, really like it. And the songs are also the most sorrowful from Burzum ever, the most depressing. Det Som Engang Var, the opening song, is, well, basically the title of the previous album on this list. Hvis, Lyset, the title track for this album. I love these two songs, and then the third song, In I Slottet fra Dronen, I think that's how you pronounce it. All the albums have that perfect atmosphere, perfect sorrowfulness, just like what the previous album. These two are amazing, really amazing. And then Tom had a dark ambient song. There's that genre, how do you call it? Nintendo rock, Nintendin, something like that. It's basically a genre inspired by classic Nintendo music from very old games and such, arcade games. And Tom Hat has that sound, that arcade sound to it. It's something like you could find on like a Legend of Zelda creepypasta or some shit like that. Just making some random bullshit. So this video is it's very low. Oh my! So amazing album. This is my favorite Burzum album. So this is where I'm gonna close this video. Really good discography, as I said a few times throughout the video, and I now think back, I will make a separate introduction, just setting straight my views on this guy and, well, who he is. The discography is amazing. All of these albums are amazing, really good albums, but the person behind them, oh no. So, oh, whatever. Overall, this is, well, the first real black metal band I've listened. I want to listen to a few more black metal bands. Actually, the next review I'm gonna make is from the first black metal album I ever listened. Although at the time when I first listened to it, I did not know what I was listening to, the genre, so I created many genres in my head until I finally discover, oh, this is black metal. So until the next few videos, I hope you enjoyed this one. See you then.